Hi, everybody. It's me, Ali Moore. We're back in the relationship arena. I'm being nosy, as I always am, with some fabulous guests, people that I've only really met a few minutes ago, a lot of the time, but they are willing to share their stories of relationships in their world. Now, I always say I'm so excited, but I'm always getting excited, as you know, about guests, especially when they're brand new stories and maybe concepts in relationships that we've not explored here before, but are really important. And this is one of those. I'm joined by the amazing Michelle. She's going to introduce herself in a moment. And we are going to be exploring here a topic that I think will resonate. And it's all about, people's behaviors, people's perceptions, and about, making sure that you take those opportunities. And of course, finding love in relationships. And Michelle is going to share her story and some of the challenges that she found, maybe not even from herself, but as you will see, from perception of people around her that kind of shaped a narrative that could have prevented her from finding love. And we wouldn't want that for anybody. So welcome, Michelle, to the show.
Hi, Allie. Yeah, hello. It's good to be
So
here.
we notice an accent, obviously, here.
Yes.
We are British here. So tell everyone a bit about, who you are and where you're from and where the accent is from. Share a bit.
Hi, my name is Michelle Steiner. I live in the United States. I am from Western Pennsylvania, and anybody that knows that around that region, that definitely has a specific accent with that. I am a writer, a speaker, a photographer, and a paraeducator. I live with my husband Ron and our two cats, Jack and Sparrow. And I also have a learning disability, and that has really impacted a lot of my life with my work that I do. I work in a school with students with disabilities and some that don't have them. And I'm also a writer and a speaker and a photographer, and I have a blog called Michelle's Mission where I write about my life with a learning disability.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. As I say, now I have one very random question because my US
Yes.
geography is rubbish. Whereabouts is Pennsylvania for our British people that are thinking the same? Is it up, down, left, right? Where are you?
I am terrible at directions, but it's like in the northeast,
In the
yeah, that
Northeast.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Perfect. We've got a feel for that now. So thank you
Yes.
for that. Thank you for that. And so you do a wide range of things,
Right.
have a wide range of skills. As you say,
Hmm.
you have lovely relationship now, but
Yes.
I want to take you back because you shared something with me when we were just nattering before the show started, where you were given some views from other people
Hmm.
that could have shaped your whole perception of whether relationships were for you. So, can you share a bit about what you were once told?
Sure. I was once told that somebody may not want me because I have a disability. I can remember hearing that whenever I was in college and I was just doing my internship at a school. And I didn't realize the person giving me the advice, she was also single and never really found anybody in her life. And that was more of her projection rather
Mhm.
than the reality. And I can remember thinking, wow, I wasn't seeing anybody at the time. And marriage was a big deal in my family. It still
Okay.
is. I think my mom and my grandma had my wedding day planned out from the moment I was born.
Oh,
And it was just really emphasized to find somebody. And I can remember just really thinking, well, I wanted to do that. And I did. And the person who told me that, there was definitely some rejection with that.
hmm.
I can remember I've had people tell me straight up, I don't want to be with you because of your disability. And I can also remember really clearly my ex, when we were breaking up, he told me that he thought I could drive if I really, really wanted to because I'm not able to do that with my
Okay.
disability.
Yeah.
And he said that he was tired of taking me places.
So if you just tried
And
harder, Michelle, you just
yeah.
tried a little bit more, then you could get a grip of that.
hmm
Wow. Wow.
And,
So
and he knew me too growing up. So, I mean, so that was really hard too. So, yeah, that was difficult to be in that.
so how did that in any way kind of knock you, or did it stop you, or did you always hold on to the view that that was nonsense and that you would absolutely find somebody?
For a while, I mean, I didn't see anybody. I mean, I always wanted that. And I struggled with
Mhm.
a lot of times. I mean, I know I was living on my own and I was watching other people that were getting married or being in relationships. And I just wondered, okay, well, what is wrong with me? And then there was some other, uh, I didn't quite get into them, but I mean, just some other broken relationships that just
Mm-hmm.
happened. People that I met and things just, it was not in turning into a good place. And I finally just got so frustrated that I prayed and I said, God, do not send me somebody until it's the right person. And before that happened, I had some really interesting things that I can just look back on that I can't explain. The first one was I was volunteering in our art center, and I had a friend that asked me, are you seeing anybody right now? And I said, oh, no, I haven't found the right person. And he goes, I have a feeling you're going to meet somebody at a place like this. And that is exactly where I met my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I was volunteering at the art center and that night, and he saw me walking down the street wearing a red dress, and he said, wow, who's that girl? Where's she going? And it turns out we were both going to the same place. We both were going to the art center. He was playing guitar that night, and all summer long he got to know me, and we got to be friends before we even went out on our first date. And then the second thing that happened before I met him did not, my friend had a dream that
Mm-hmm.
I got married and I was standing in front of the courthouse with a vintage wedding dress on. And I wondered, okay, I could definitely picture the vintage dress because that is my style. And I wonder, well, who is this guy and why would I be standing in front of the courthouse? Well,
Mm-hmm.
when we got married, I had the vintage dress on and we had a reception at the art center. And I can remember walking up the street because the photographer took us on a little walk to take pictures in this
Yeah.
park. And in the background of the park is the courthouse. And it did not hit me until we got our pictures back that that was the dream that was coming true.
Okay.
And and with my husband, it was so much when I finally just surrendered that dream. I found the right person because on our first date, my husband asked me, when I told him I had a disability, well, how does that make you feel? And I knew that he was a keeper at that point because he was the first person that asked that. And it's not to say that there isn't a learning curve. I mean, we've had to work together. We've had to learn there's certain things that I'm not able to do
Mm-hmm.
and certain things I might need assistance with, but I think that just finding him was one of those dreams that definitely came true for me.
So I want to just go back to you've
Okay.
become friends because
Yeah.
I love these stories, then
Mhm.
this is humans, right? This is us
Right.
interacting. So you've met this person, you obviously liking this person, you became friends, you had
Mhm.
common interests. Were you, I mean, I'm guessing, some of your challenges or disabilities that you had, he may have already noticed, but you said, I told him
Yeah. hmm
because of your past experience, were you wary at all, or did you know he was going to be okay with it? Did you have that feeling?
I knew he was going to be all right with it because I
Mhm.
could see things going in a really good direction. I can remember with other ones that I had before when I expressed, okay, my fear about getting a job because of my disability, a lot of times people will be like, well, why don't you just go work at McDonald's? Or you're not going to be able to be a writer. And I never heard that with him. It was always really encouraging, like, okay, I think that you're going to find something. And I think, and he likes to write too. So, I mean, it was definitely that encouragement to go forward with that. And I think in general, we were getting along with each other. We did have a long distance relationship. He was for about a year or so because he was working out of town. when we first met, but I could just see things going in a better direction. We weren't fighting all the time. We were getting along with each other. We liked hanging out with each other. We weren't quite sure for the first couple of years whether we were going to get married, but I knew that we were happy with each other and enjoying life. So I think that that was one of those things where I felt more comfortable with that because I knew we were just enjoying each other.
And I think that's a key thing that comes out when I hear people's stories when they make that connection is
Hmm.
regardless of whatever's going on for you, you're not having to mask yourself. You're not having
Yeah.
to walk on eggshells, as we say.
Hmm.
You're not having to worry. If you can just be yourself and feel
Right.
accepted, it brings that relationship to a whole new dynamic, doesn't it?
Yes, it does,
Mm.
because you can be who you are, and that's safe to do that. And then that other person can be who they are as well. And you know what is going on. So I think that that is a big part of having that relationship. I agree.
So you're now in the relationship, like you say, there were some
Mhm.
learning curves, but I think there are with all relationships as you get to know each other. We've all got skills, abilities,
Yes.
development areas, growth areas, you know.
Hmm.
Um, how did you and hubby, how did you work through that? Was it just part of your day to day? Was there anything specific that you would want to share?
I think a lot of it's communication and talking
Mm.
about things because sometimes they may not he may not understand, well, why do you struggle with this? And I have to explain that. And then I have to say, this is how you can best support me with that.
Yeah.
And that can be something that's definitely helpful. With finding jobs, sometimes a lot of places claim, oh, we're disability friendly or we have disability programs. And you have to be like, well, I don't know if that is going to be the right fit for me. A lot of places that might say that they have that, not to go into specific agencies,
Mhm, mhm.
but for example, you might have a store and they say, well, we hire people with disabilities. Well, if I'm going to get a job at, first of all, doing cash, being a cash register, or excuse me, working on a cash register,
Yeah.
is going to be tough with having the disability. Even certain things like trying to maybe running clothes back or stocking shelves or things like that would be a lot harder for me with having that. So I have to be that advocate and we have to talk about that and say, well, no, I don't know if this is the right path for me,
Mhm.
but let's see about, going for this job at a school or doing something with that. And it's about talking with it. And then sometimes I even think, the question is, well, why can't you get money? Like we've had that issue too that has come up like from our government. And it's just, I don't qualify with having that. So having to maybe just explain and educate that that's just not going to be a possibility for me, but it might be for somebody else, and that is fine.
So really helping them to see things as the reality,
Yes.
as opposed to what they think might be, because there is a danger that you kind of
Hmm.
get lumped in, as somebody with
Yes.
with a lifelong condition myself, you can feel like you're kind of
Hmm.
grouped together, you know.
Yes.
You belong in this group, and actually we're all individual, and the mix of
Hmm.
disabilities as you refer to them for you mean that it's a very individual, we are individual humans and you're helping your
Right.
partner see you as that rather than my pet hate, I just have to say, is when you join different like support groups online and they
Hmm.
refer to them as initials like my wife with whatever, or my husband with, it's like, can they not just be your wife or your husband? Do you
Right.
have to label them?
Exactly, because it's a part of who you are. It's not the whole package, but it definitely is a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and somebody can be a wife and that person has a disability. Somebody can be a husband and has a disability, or a caregiver that cares for somebody that has one too. I mean, yeah, somebody can be, but it's still the parent. It's still the spouse. It's not just the whole issue of that of the disability.
So for you, one of the key tips for people, and I think it's true for all relationship, is really communicating, really sharing. And it
Hmm.
sounds like your husband is asking the right questions. He's interested and he's curious as opposed to assuming this is what it's going to
Yes.
be like.
Exactly. Yeah, he'll ask me and we'll try different things out. And sometimes that it's that encouragement and working together with things
Mm.
too. For example, we'll put up our Christmas tree coming up, and I cannot string the lights on the tree by myself with my hand dexterity, but he'll help me and he'll say, okay, I'm pulling it over this way, and then he'll show me, and then I'm able to help him out with that. So, I mean,
Yes.
I think it's that working together, and it's also the communicating is more important.
Have you faced any discrimination in your relationship or had comments from, supposed friends or colleagues, when you first got together? Did he experience anything or has it been really good?
It has been really good for us. I mean, we've really had a lot of people that have been like encouraging
Hmm.
with that. So, I mean, we really have, but also I don't have a visible disability, so I think that that makes it a lot easier. So we haven't had a
Mm.
whole lot of discrimination with that.
Hmm. Okay. And I'm really pleased to hear that because I have heard stories of people that have got together, and one or
Mhm.
other of them has received comments, about, do you know what you're taking on, and what will this be
Mhm.
like? So I'm really pleased to hear that that was a positive
Yes.
experience for you. So how long have you been together? Where are you up to with your relationship?
We have been, well, I believe about 15 years we've been together. I think
Amazing.
16 actually. And then we've celebrated 10 years of marriage. So, yeah, this June, that was past June that we celebrated 10 years together. So, yeah.
So it's a happy ending for you.
Yes,
If you
definitely.
I just can't believe when you think back, to those comments that were made when you were single and that, person was saying you may never find somebody.
Hmm.
And that could really have, made somebody feel like, well, there's no point looking. There's no point, that I,
Right.
right, really impacted your sense of self. So it's wonderful to hear your happy ending.
Thank you.
And you work in a school, I understand. So yeah,
Yes, I
and
do.
yeah, and
I, yes, I work as a teacher's aide for students with disabilities and some who don't. And I work with seventh graders. And I used to wonder, okay, what good could come out of having a disability? And a lot of times it's made me a more caring, empathetic person.
yeah.
I'm not with everybody, but I can understand what a lot of my kids at that age are going through. Because
Hmm.
sometimes it's like hearing a recording of myself at that age. I hate my disability. I wish I didn't have it. I don't feel like I'm smart. And I get to be that voice that tells them you are smart.
Oh.
And it's not a bad thing to have a disability. And we're here to help. And I also get to show them how to advocate for themselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes I might have a student and they're upset about something or they can't figure out how to get a concept. And I'll say, well, what do you think you should do? Well, I think I should talk to the teacher, but I'm afraid. And I go with them and I show them how to advocate. And they're not afraid anymore. They're able to ask for help. And I think a lot with my students, they're all one day going to leave me, but for a lot of them, their disabilities are going to stay. So I think it's really important that we show them how to manage that.
Definitely.
And I can help the kids with anything except for math. And I'm pretty
Well,
good.
me too, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not my bag, right? So,
Right. Yes.
Michelle, it has been wonderful to chat with you today. Thank you for sharing your story. If you are listening or watching this on any platforms and you have questions, then please do drop questions and I will follow up with Michelle. I'm sure she will come back to us. Um, as always, if you have a relationship story that you think would be interesting, please do get in touch. Or if you have a topic about relationships that you think, well, we haven't covered or you would like us to cover, then please do get in touch because we have more episodes lined up. We're always looking for those relationship stories, people living their lives to their best abilities, perhaps in ways that others haven't considered. So I thank you, Michelle, once again for your time here and for sharing your story. And we'd love to have you back. We often have guests come back, so we'd love to have you back and catch up with you in the
Sure.
future.
I would love that. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back in the relationship arena very soon. As always, as I say at the end of every podcast, I'm going to try and stop recording for you guys listening and watching, but not cut Michelle off rudely so I can say goodbye once the cameras have closed down. Take care, everybody.